Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz's Netflix movie Back in Action took them across the world, but where was the action comedy actually filmed? Back in Action marks Cameron Diaz's return to acting after a decade-long retirement, and it put her in a wide variety of situations right off the bat. Emily, Diaz, and Matt, Fox, met the star-studded cast of Back in Action, which included big names like Glenn Close, Kyle Chandler, and Andrew Scott, and they had more than their fair share of shootouts and fistfights. Not only did Back in Action give Diaz quite a bit to do, but it also sent her around the world. By the ending of Back in Action, both Emily and Matt had gone to 2 different continents, fought assassins in famous rivers and mountain ranges, and even led a chaotic car chase through a suburban neighborhood. While some of those moments happened due to the magic of VFX and green screens, others were filmed on location. In fact, Back in Action used a surprising amount of on-location filming, and the production team actually traveled further than Matt and Emily did. From famous historical landmarks to surprising alpine countries, the filming locations of Back in Action are endlessly interesting. Slovenia. Back in Action's opening mountain village was likely Slovenian. Matt and Emily walk through a snowy forest in Back in Action. The opening scene of Back in Action takes place in a picturesque, mountainous country, and that nation is likely Slovenia. The credits of Back in Action stated that the film received a cash rebate from the Slovenian Film Center, meaning the plane crash sequence was likely filmed in the country. It's not clear if Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz were ever actually in the country, or if they filmed in a studio and body doubles were used for the on-location shots. Atlanta, Georgia. Back in Action filmed both on location and in studios in Atlanta, Georgia. A large chunk of Back in Action was filmed either on location or in studios in the area of Atlanta, Georgia. Certain scenes, like when Matt and Emily track Alice down to a nightclub, were filmed in the city itself, while others were filmed in the surrounding suburbs. Georgia has several tax incentives for movie and TV productions, via Georgia, which makes it a very sought-after location for many projects. Back in Action also used one of the suburbs of Atlanta for the family's house, and the film actually drove over and destroyed real-life family lawns, via House Beautiful. London, England. Many of Back in Action's London scenes were filmed on location. The second half of Back in Action takes place in London, England, and a large portion of its scenes were filmed on location. Like Georgia, London also has extensive tax rebates available for film productions, which makes it a common destination. That said, the stars of Back in Action were seen in and around London throughout principal photography. Cameron Diaz even actually drove a boat down the River Thames in the heart of London at one point, via metro. Other locations around London, like Heathrow Airport, were also used. Waddesdon Manor, Buckinghamshire, England. Ginny's Mansion was a historic English manor. One of the more impressive locations in Back in Action was Ginny's, Glen Close, mansion. Ginny's Mansion was a real location, Waddesdon Manor in Buckinghamshire, England. Waddesdon Manor is a National Trust heritage site that draws in hundreds of thousands of tourists each year, and Back in Action was able to film both outside and inside the historic building. The neo-Renaissance architecture and design of Ginny's Mansion is all authentic from the 19th century. Quebec, Canada. Back in Action likely used some Canadian studios. A stream of fire at a gas station in Back in Action. Though it wasn't a location Matt, Emily, and their children traveled to in the film, Back in Action also filmed some of its scenes in Quebec, Canada. It's not entirely clear which Back in Action scenes were filmed in Quebec, but it's possible that the movie used studios in the Canadian city. Quebec also offers tax rebates that many film productions find lucrative, and Back in Action's credits confirmed the action comedy made use of them. It's also possible that Quebec was the site of Matt and Emily's gas station fight in Back in Action, though that remains unconfirmed.